Hey guys, what's up and welcome to a new Tesla update video. So today, fairly slow day once again, and I have to make this video a little bit quicker because I do have to go somewhere after. But nonetheless, let's go over relatively quickly as to what happened in the market. If you enjoyed the video, guys, by the way, don't forget to hit that like button. It does help a lot. Tesla ending the day at 725.51 cents. Which is an increase of 1.23%. So all in all, actually not a bad day. And the reason I say it's not a bad day is because we officially, once again, broke out of this downward trend that we were in. Unfortunately, the candle didn't look the most, not the most convincing, glorious breakout that I'd want to see. Ideally, I would have loved to stay above, this kind of 735 level and kind of maintain above that roughly. The fact that we got sucked back down all the way to 725, I'm not gonna lie, it's a little less convincing. That tells me that there's potentially a little bit more volatility, maybe even a little bit more weakness ahead. But all in all, this is a decent sign, and I still think that things are pointing in the direction of potentially, actually moving upwards. So we'll definitely see what happens with that. Now, again, when you look at Tesla and things like this, you always want to look at, everything else and how it compares to Tesla, because it can indicate how Tesla will move, such as SPY, QQQ even, or the VIX, which we'll take a look at very quickly. But moving over to the 1 hour chart, you can see here, similar pattern to what we had here, right? We went up and then kind of set up a bull flag. Similar thing we're doing here, kind of going up, potentially set up, like a more or less bull flag ish over here as well. So pretty much the way you'd want to look at this is as long as we stay above, pretty much like 720 to 715. As long as you maintain that range roughly, and we don't really go too far below that, I think we're definitely looking good here. And I think we're going to be looking like, we want to actually kind of rally off of that roughly. So I'm feeling pretty good about that all in all. So I'm actually pretty happy about that, and I think we're still looking quite decent. Taking a quick look at the Bollinger Band, you can see it did get kind of explosive over here, got tighter, then got explosive again, but not too crazy because this move wasn't too crazy, mainly because it got sucked back down really fast. At some point it was up like 4.5%. Up here I ended up selling calls for this Friday and then bottomed back over here because they were already 50% off, so I ended up just buying it back. And I'll sell calls again if we do finally rally up, maybe tomorrow if we're lucky. It's very possible, but I wouldn't hold my breath. And the main reason is because we also have China numbers coming out for Tesla tonight. We have the CPI on Friday. So there's a bunch of stuff coming out that we're still kind of waiting on. And I think the market is still overall waiting on, which is why the volume is a little bit lower on average the past 2 days, including today. That's another thing to keep in mind. Is those catalysts that people are essentially waiting for. So going back to the daily here very quickly, let's take a quick look at... Not that. I want to take a look at, here it is, the moving average, right? So let's go ahead and remove the Bollinger Band for now. So you can see the 10-day moving average right now is sitting at, man, I want to just change the color on this because the color on this is just, it's just so difficult to see, man. We'll do yellow. It should be a lot easier to stand out. Beautiful. All right, so 726 is the moving average. You can see here we are actually bouncing right around it. So ended just a tad below it, but we're pretty much bouncing more or less off of the 10-day moving average. But on the flip side, if we take a quick look at the 5 moving average, you can see it is going to be somewhat rejecting us. So we're kind of bouncing in between those two right now. So we really want to see a push up and, in my opinion, start really consistently holding above something like 735 roughly to really get a nice continuation, in my opinion. And then I think that can have an explosive move up. It could be a catalyst, like again, if the China numbers come in for Tesla better than expected, or if CPI is, better than expected, things like that. I think those are the catalysts that we're looking for to push Tesla up to better heights. You can see the RSI is still looking fine, kind of more or less bouncing off the average, still looking like it wants to go up. All in all, the head and shoulders pattern we're still kind of holding. So I still like the way we're looking. And again, you always want to compare it to see how the indices are doing. You can see the SPY is just going sideways, but it's getting tighter and tighter and tighter, which is telling me that, again, I really think that, by Friday morning when we get the CPI numbers, could be a decent catalyst as to where we're going to go. I still think there's more things pointing to the upside than to the downside. But of course, you shouldn't count the downside out of the equation yet, or at all, in my opinion. So keep that in mind. Another thing you want to look at, of course, is going to be the VIX. Now the VIX is the most interesting one, in my opinion. You can see it's a lot of red. That ended up getting some bounces over here off of the key support. So we bounced off here, then we came down here, bounced off of here as well, got rejected from this resistance, which was support, came all the way down to this red trend line that we are bouncing off of. Essentially twice, right? I am on the daily. So yesterday and today, we kind of bounced off this red line, but you can see it is kind of making lower lows even then. So it is definitely showing some weakness, the VIX. And all we really need, so one of two things will happen. Either we get some volatility and the VIX ends up getting one more bounce, potentially to maybe 24 24, almost like 24 and a half to 25 once again, which it did today. So I actually don't think that will happen again. But the other thing for the SPY and the market to really get that kind of leg up that we've been waiting for and talking about and just anxiously waiting for is going to be essentially, we want the VIX to not only fall below this line here, but we want it to like stay below it, right? We don't want it to go down and then just kind of get sucked back up like that really quickly. We want it to stay below. So this essentially, in my opinion, the way I see this right now is the market is extremely contracted. A lot of things are just waiting for the catalyst. In my opinion, I think it's the CPI Friday morning, and I think the market is just waiting for that because like the VIX looks contracted, the SPY, QQQ, even Tesla, everything just looks contracted, and it's waiting to explode in a direction. And in my opinion, again, it's just waiting for the catalyst. And you can see the volume is just getting lower and lower and lower and lower and lower, right? Just getting lower volume. This is a good sign of contraction and consolidation. This means that nothing is really being too crazy, in terms of, nothing's happening, nothing's moving, evidently so. But this is one of those things that usually happens in a very kind of anxious, almost tight consolidation phase, waiting for some kind of catalyst, which again, I think is going to be the CPI numbers on Friday. So yeah, I think that's going to be the day to look for. I wouldn't be surprised if tomorrow might be a little bit more sideways action. They might also like try to bait people tomorrow to get, maybe get FOMO, or to maybe get them to panic sell prior to the numbers releasing on Friday morning. That's also a big possibility. But ultimately, I think the market's waiting for the Friday, and we're definitely going to see an explosive move up or down, one of those two for sure. But again, based on everything I've said pretty much this whole week, I still strongly believe that there's like a 75% chance it's to the upside and 25% chance it's to the downside. So yeah, that's essentially what I'm seeing right now. I have cash on the side, so if we do go to the downside to buy more, but I'm like 80% in the market right now because I strongly believe that we are going to go up all in all. So yeah, we'll see what happens, guys. That's essentially what I'm seeing at the moment. I have to make this video a little bit quicker because I do got to go. But thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow. Peace.